The Mystery of the Pyramid Box. At 10 minutes past 7 on a warm summer evening in 1936, Evelyn Hart drove into the quiet town of Bellwood. She had no idea that before the night was over, she would find a mysterious box, hear a voice from a supposedly missing man, and discover a secret that someone had tried to hide for more than 20 years. Evelyn slowed her old blue Ford as she passed the town square. The shops were closing, and people were heading home for dinner. Everything seemed peaceful. But when she reached her aunt's house, she noticed something strange. A large metal gallon can marked gasoline stood beside the back door. Evelyn stopped and looked from the can to the house. Why would her aunt need a gallon of gasoline? Before she could ask, the back door opened. "Evelyn, darling." Aunt Margaret came out and warmly embraced her. "My dear, I'm so glad you're here," she said kindly. "You must be tired after such a long drive." "I'm fine, Aunt Margaret." Evelyn smiled, but her eyes went back to the metal can. Her aunt noticed. "What is it?" Evelyn asked. For just a moment, Aunt Margaret said nothing. Then she smiled. "Nothing important." But Evelyn had learned something about people. When someone said nothing important too quickly, it usually meant the opposite. They went inside. Aunt Margaret took Evelyn's suitcase upstairs while Evelyn stood in the hallway and looked around. The house had not changed much since her last visit. The old clock still stood beside the fireplace, and a large mirror hung above a small wooden table. On the table was a newspaper. Evelyn picked it up. The headline caught her attention. "Local businessman missing." She read the article quickly. Charles Bell, the owner of Bellwood General Store, had disappeared 3 days earlier. He had left his store at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and had not been seen since. Aunt Margaret came back downstairs. "Who is Charles Bell?" Evelyn asked. "You don't remember him?" her aunt asked, taking the newspaper from her. "No. He was a friend of your father's." Aunt Margaret took the newspaper from her. "Charles was a very kind man," Aunt Margaret said, her voice dropping to a whisper. "Everyone in town liked him. Then why would anyone want to hurt him?" Aunt Margaret looked away. "I don't know." Evelyn studied her face. "You do know something." Aunt Margaret sighed. "Perhaps." They went into the kitchen, where Aunt Margaret began making tea. After a moment, she said, "Charles came to see me the day before he disappeared." "What did he want?" "He wanted me to keep something for him." "What?" Aunt Margaret opened a drawer and pulled out a small wooden box. Evelyn leaned closer to look at it. The box was unusual. It had 4 sides, but the top came to a sharp point. "It looks like a pyramid," Evelyn said. Aunt Margaret nodded. "Charles called it the pyramid box." "Why did he give it to you?" "I don't know." "Did he tell you what was inside?" "No." Evelyn looked at the box carefully. "Did you open it?" "No." "Why not?" Aunt Margaret gave a nervous smile. "Because Charles asked me not to." Evelyn sat down. "Personally, I don't think he gave you this box simply because he wanted you to keep it safe." Aunt Margaret looked at her. "What do you think?" "I think he was afraid." The kitchen became very quiet. Finally, Aunt Margaret said, "There was something else." "What?" "Charles told me that if anyone came looking for the box, I should tell them I had never seen it." "Anyone? Did he say who?" Aunt Margaret shook her head. "He only said, the person who wants this box must never get it." Evelyn looked down at the box again. "Whatever is inside, it must be important." "Let's find out." "No." Aunt Margaret's voice was so sharp that Evelyn looked up in surprise. For a moment, neither woman spoke. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to subscribe and join us for more wonderful stories. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next story. Take care and have a wonderful day.